Alright, in this video for Analytics Engineering DBT 0 to 100 onboarding/tutorial, I'll be going over the stage procedure in developing our tables for our data mart. Here we are at the overview of the documentation right now, and then now we're going to go from base raw extraction development in base to staging transformation and just getting up to the stage. This is just a quick overview, not quite as extensive as the base or mart layer, which we'll see later on, but it is as fit as such, and then for the explanation that's going to come up, but then also there'll be some supplementary queries related to getting up to a stage or developing tables related to the stage portion of the Kimball methodology that we're implementing to create our data models. So let's get started. So now we've done some data cleaning and other related items in the base layer, which we've seen before in the predecessing steps or videos. Now let's distance ourselves from the essential data engineering or analytic engineering, particularly data cleansing, and go on something more interesting, which is the staging layer. Here are my recommendations for the staging layer for myself, though this designation of the staging layer can depend on person to person and what methodology particularly they reinforce or adopt, as analytics engineering is becoming an ever more growing career path or field. So what are the things to consider in this implementation? In the staging implementation? Column renaming, that's required, and particularly column renaming for the sake of renaming in an appropriate manner for your data reports and how you would call about that. So that's something you definitely not want to consider, but something you want to acquire at least up to this level. And joining data based off dimensional and fact tables, that's something I'll cover later on in the mart layer. Maybe some filtering as well, some dirty data that you want to avoid or particular pieces of information that you want to filter out from your reporting data. For example, test event tracking for product event information, or for Google Ads particularly. Maybe there's dummy accounts that you don't want to reference, particularly in your analytics for marketing in Google Ads. And then maybe custom field creations as well in the staging layer. For example, the following attempts to join another table with a foreign key of the existing table to the primary key with the other table in preparation of our data warehouse. This can be done in the mart layer as well, but I do it here in this example. So here, using our Untitled template for referencing our reference table, which happens to be from our base layer. In the CTE, we're going to combine... Oh, actually, no. We're not going to join any data, but if we were to join data, we do join some data. But right here, we just do some basic column renaming. So IB income band SK to income band SK, and then a concatenation between two fields to get a feature engineer and create a new field. Okay, and then the following is an example of creating the stage layer views for our customer catalog sales, as we can see down here below. Here is particularly, that's where I did left drawing. Okay, that explains that. So you can see that in the upcoming SQL queries respectively coming up, but to execute these particular queries all together in one lump sum in the staging folder, we can hit dbt run -- model or models as a flag, and then stage.all. You can find other dbt commands in the get dbt docs. They're great and wonderful, highly recommend. But if you want to just get a quick start and just querying all the related queries to materialize views or tables in that staging folder, then you can run this command. So very quickly, let's go into the reference of the staging layer, particular for joins, because that's something I mentioned and I don't want to forget. So here's the materialization hypothetically we had. are the queries that we had for materialization of our base tables in our data mart. And here, going to the stage folder, which is designated here in this hierarchy as staging tables in our database and materialized as views, we go into this folder and go into customer catalog sales. Here, in the staging layer, we have the combination of multiple joins. They're occurring down here in the staging layer, with also some renaming as well. Renaming in preparation for the data reporting coming up in the Marts layer. And then this respectively can be done in the Marts layer as well. Something I like to do as well. So this is an example, like in the staging layer, where you'd want to join multiple information to get a wide fact table for business reporting. And then where I previously showed in the example where I had a little misstep was just doing a simple concatenation between two fields as for feature engineering, and then just renaming a column as well. There's some other queries as well, like there doesn't always have to be transformations. One can just simply just query the base table information and to materialize that as a staging table, and then just continue on in the DAG or direct acyclic graph or ELT for everything to go to approach the data model, data model reporting layer. And then here's just another quick example of like, okay, here's another case where I want to have some preparation in regards to doing some reporting, but like in a wider table, nothing too normalized. Here's another case where another join occurs as well, in combination, if we notice, with our feature engineering that we've done before. And so just reiterating, coming back here now. In the staging layer, some of the things we want to consider or implement in this procedure is column renaming, joining data if we want to have this like wider table for business reporting, filtering any data that we want in that said business reporting, or just creating custom fields as well. There's probably a little bit more to this, but this is some of the recommendations, preliminary recommendations I have just into getting started into creating and standing up your data mart and how to go about this consideration as well. So next up, we're going to go into mart reporting, which is the final step into creating our data mart and the fact dimension tables, and then I'll go into some additional items as well. That's pretty much it, and yeah, thank you for your time.